Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to count down, I am going to keep counting down my 100 Beyond the 100. So games 101 to 200. We've already done one of these videos, but it's been a minute, so I wanted to do another one so you could see more games that I enjoy. Okay, so without further ado, let's look at a game. All right, so game 190 is a little card game that we picked up at Gen Con. We didn't pick up a ton of stuff there because it was busy. And this game is called Rebel Princess, and it's the deluxe edition. This is a trick-taking game that effectively is hearts. If you ever played the game Hearts, you're trying to not collect hearts. But there's one card, I believe the Queen of Hearts is worth 13 points. If you collect that, you get 13. But if you can collect all the hearts, you get no points. Negative points or something. And this one is negative. That's what this one's doing. You're trying not to collect princesses, and you're trying not to collect the prince suit. There's also a frog prince. It's the 5-pointer. But in this one, you're going to have special player power. You're going to be your own princess. So here, we'll show you right here. So here is, what is this? These are the princesses you can be. Everyone's going to get dealt a couple princesses. You're going to pick one. So Snow White gives you some kind of special power. 7 dwarves play a 7 or lower as a 0. So there you go. Rapunzel, she's going to have her thing that she does. Everyone's going to have a special power they can use once per trick. And then there's going to be these funky round cards that are going to change up how you play. So you're playing the game of hearts, but then you have special powers and you have this funky stuff that's happening every round that's going to make that difficult. You're going to play over, I think, 5 rounds, and then whoever has the least amount of points after all that is said and done is the winner. It's a really fun game. It's tricky, no pun. It's funky, but man, it's good. I really enjoy this. I'm a huge Hearts fan, and so this doesn't take a lot of teaching, especially if you know Hearts. But yeah, this is solid. This is good. I enjoy it. So my number 190, Rebel Princess. All right, so my number 189 is a game that we've played. Me and Rory have played live on our channel, and it's called Noctilica or Noctiluca. I don't know how you say it, but you can see it on the screen here. And this is effectively an abstract game. It's an abstract game where you're trying to collect these different colors of dice, if I can get this to pull up. And these dice are going to do a couple different things. What you're going to do is you're looking at the pips, and you're going to select a row. So say I put my marker right here. I can select all of one pip value of dice in any of those paths, okay? And then I get all the dice in that color. Then I'm trying to use those dice to fill in these gold cards. So if I can collect these 5 colors, these 5 dice in those 3 colors, I'll get 1 point. I'll get an extra token, which gives me additional points. Does a little bit of area control type of thing. And then I get a new card. You're only playing 4 or 5 or 6 rounds, depending on the number of turns per round. And it's 2 rounds. So you're trying to do the best that you can do in the little amount of time that you can do it. The interesting thing here is if I draft dice that I can't use, they get passed around the table. And so if I have 3 dice left, there's another player to my left, they can take what they need, and it keeps going around until there aren't any dice left, or it gets back to me, and they get discarded. Really fun little game. It's super easy to teach. It's really fun to play. It looks fantastic on the table because the dice are very colorful, and it's just a nice little package. And I really enjoy this. So my number 189, Noctiluca. Number 188. Now this is a game that I'm interested in on theme alone. I have daughters. I have a wife. And eventually I would like my daughters to be able to vote. And this game is Votes for Women. This is about ratifying the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote. So a lot of suffrage. This game is about the suffrage movement. And it's effectively a 2-player game where one player is taking on the role of the suffragists who are trying to get women the right to vote. And the other player is taking on the role of the anti-suffragists, or people you don't want the women to vote. And you're trying to basically, let me see if you can see this thing a little bit better here. You're basically trying to do a little bit of area control on these different spaces on the board. You're trying to get cubes of your color down to control the area. You got these little people moving around as well. And you're ultimately trying to get, if you're a suffragist, you want to get more of these cities, these states with check marks than X's. And there's a breakdown in, I think, what is it? You need more than 20 or something. But you're also trying to do this thing down here. You're trying to levy Congress so they can just pass it right out. Because this has to happen before the states can ratify it. Okay, so and the way this is done is by this interesting card play. You have a hand of cards, and all the cards are going to be used in. They're going to have special powers on them, and you're going to be using them to put workers out on the board, move people around. They're going to function at certain times in the game, and the suffragists and anti-suffragists have different cards. Some of the cards will stay out on the board. Some of them just get discarded. Some get played in front of you. It's really interesting game. It's you can play it cooperatively too. I wouldn't do that. I just like the one-on-one back and forth. Looks cool on the table. The theme is cool. Card play is fantastic. It's kind of a war game, which I'm not super into, but I do like this company, which is what are they called? I knew it. It was just like escaping me. Fort Circle. They also do. I have the game back here. Shores of Tripoli, which also has this really cool card mechanism that they kind of took and put into this game. I probably like this one better, but either way, they're cool games. But anyway, my number, whatever this is, 188 votes for women. Number 187 is another funky trick-taking game, and it's called Lunar. This is one of the small box games from Allplay. And effectively, this is a team-based trick-taking game. There's not a lot of pictures, so I'll try to explain it as best I can. It's a team-based trick-taking game where one player is playing the numbers. You can see the cards here. There's some number cards. And one player is playing the color to the card. So if I'm on a team with Katie, I play a 3. She cannot play a number. She has to play the color. And what you're trying to do across both teams is you're trying to win a certain number of tricks. You can see on this dial here, if you can get 0 to 3 tricks, you get 10 points. These are 4 and 5 is 0, 6 is 5, 7 and 8 is 10. And then, there you go. So you're trying to get the perfect number of tricks to score points. And you're doing that by each playing half of a card, essentially. And there's a trump suit that you're going to be flipping out with these cool tokens each round to try to go back and forth to make certain colors of the suits the trump suits. That's going to change every round. It's a pretty standard trick-taking style game, but only playing half the card is interesting. And this isn't one that I want to play all the time because it's a little bit heady, a little bit thinky. But as far as trick-taking games go, this is up there. It's good. It's solid. And we got the extra bits, the fantastic metal bits that you're seeing on the screen here. And this is just a fun game. It's a little bit brainy, a little bit heavy, but once everybody understands it, and if you can play it with the same people all the time, you're going to have a good time. So that is my number 187, Lunar. 186 is actually a game that I didn't think I was going to like at first, but then I played it and I did. And it's called Meeple Land. And this is effectively a tile placement game. All the tiles are different sizes, and the tiles are basically amusement park rides or like amusement park concessions. Okay, you can see it here. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build pathways from your entrance. You can see the entrance here. You can build extras around the park to get to rides, to connect rides to different concessions. And then ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to get these bus full of people. Let me see if I can find a picture of that. There's buses full of people. Of course, I can't find that. That's lame. But there's going to be busfuls of these people. You can see the bus there. And the bus may have 3 pink, 2 blues, and a yellow. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your park set up so you can handle as many colors as you can. And then you're going to try to draft a bus that can get those people into your amusement park to get onto the ride, into the concessions, because they're going to give you money. They may give you some other kind of special benefit and all that kind of thing. And you're trying to basically end the game with the most points. There's also some extra points you can get if you can get all the different types of rides in your park, because you want to have an exciting park. This is a really fun game. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. It's easy to teach. Oh, there's some buses, so you can see them right there. It's easy to teach, and it's just a fun game to play. And I'm not even big into tiles, but this one is a good time. So that is my number. I can't ever remember the numbers. 186, Meeple Land. 185 is actually a game I think I got for Father's Day or sometime around there. And this is Masters of Renaissance, Lorenzo Il Magnifico, the card game. Now, that's a mouthful, and it's kind of misnamed because it's not really a card game. This is effectively a smaller version of Lorenzo that basically takes the production. And Lorenzo, if you played it, you have these two production tracks on your board where you got green cards and yellow cards, and you can run them in the main board and get stuff. That's kind of what you're doing in this. You're building a production line, but instead of going to a board, you're drafting these marbles out of this like marble chute that's going to tell you what kind of action you can take and all that kind of stuff based on the marble that you take out of the tray. And then you're trying to get these cards set up in a certain way so that when you run them, you have enough resources to generate and convert and all that stuff to get points. That's it. It's not a game that I want to play all the time. It's not a game that I like as much as actual Lorenzo. I mean, but you can see there's that marble thing is cool, and then you can see the actions you can take over here when the marble that you take. But it's an enjoyable game. You're even restricted on what kind of resources you can have in your vault, so you're trying to manage all that correctly. Yes, it has cards. Yes, you're using the cards, but to call it a card game is a stretch. But it's still fun. The production thing in Lorenzo is not my favorite part of the game. I actually like going to the tower and collecting the cards. That's kind of my favorite part, which this kind of does, but this is more about setting up an engine in these cards that you're getting while always covering up cards and changing them and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a fun game. It's enjoyable. It would be higher, I guess, if it maybe had a little more depth to it. But I like the marble piece, and it's a little bit easier to teach than Lorenzo. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe as tricky. So if I'm going to go into the deep of the teach, I'll just play regular Lorenzo. But either way, fun game. And it's my number one something. 185. Lorenzo Il Magnifico, the card game. Masters of Renaissance. I said that wrong, but you don't care. 184. Now, this is a game I backed on Kickstarter for one reason and one reason alone. Well, two reasons. Weavers in Santiago art, and I think Danielle Tascini, Simone Luciani, one of my favorite Italian designers. So I backed it, and the game is called Sea Dragons. I didn't really know much about this. I saw the bits, the components, but honestly, that just looks awesome. I had no idea what kind of game it is. Effectively, it's an abstract game. You're putting these different dragons down in different sizes, like polyomino shapes. So you can see the shapes here. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to control all four of the areas of the board. You're trying to sink different colored ships because you're going to use those ships to turn in for some gold cards. You can see those over there. You're trying to collect gold coins. You're trying to put enough of your dragons out on the board because when people build next to you or place their dragon next to you, I guess you're not building, you're also going to get money. Really simple game. You play a card, you draw a card, you play some dragons, you may fulfill a contract. That's it. And you can also cover up coral reefs, which give you these coral reef cards, which can be special, wild. They can give you extra ships. They can give you coins, all that kind of thing. Really easy game. Looks fantastic on the table. Way more interesting than I thought it was going to be when I backed it blindly. But I'm glad I did because it's great. And it looks amazing on the table. And Weavers in Santiago knows what he's doing when he's designing games. So there you go. That's my number 184, Sea Dragons. 183. Now, this is another small box game from All Play. And this is a trick-taking game, again. And this one actually has dice in it, which I think is really interesting. Of the ones that we've picked up, this is up there as my favorite. Basically, it's a trick-taking game where you're trying to get points. The cards are going to have point values. The higher value the card, they're going to have skulls, which are negative points. The lower value of cards are going to have leaves. Those are positive points. Every card you collect in a trick is going to give you some kind of point. Not every card, but most cards have points on them. There are also X's that you're going to get that you can throw out. Those are the only things you can throw off suit, aside from the dice, which I'll get to. And you're basically giving up on the trick. You don't want those cards. But every time you win a trick, you have to take a die, and the dice can be used as trump, but they have a value of 0, so you can win with a die, but you can always throw off suit with a die. You always have to follow suit with cards. This is a really cool game. It's a little bit heady too. It can get a little bit much. Explaining the dice and the X's and not having to follow suit with the dice, but having to follow suit with the cards. It gets a little bit up in there, but once you get this down, this game's fantastic, and I highly recommend it. So that is my 183 Mori. 182. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one because I've only played it one time and I really liked it. That's why it made my top 200. And this is called Dwellings of Eldervale. And this is a kind of a worker placement game of sorts where you have these little workers and you're going out on the board on these big tiles and you're going to exploit the tiles. You may do a little battling. You're growing the map. You're trying to do some set collection, trying to get some cards. But this also has a thing where when you have to pass to get your workers back, you pull them back onto your player board and you get to take some kind of bonus. So it's not a wasted turn. This designer has done that in a couple games. Cryo did it. And now other games have done it. Maybe other people did it before him, but he's the one I'm most familiar with. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I don't really remember the game a ton, but it has some cool stuff that I wouldn't normally like in a game, but the way they do it in this, I enjoy it. Most people have heard of this. I would like to play it again. I remember being a little bit long, and I don't have it, so that makes it hard to get played as well. But there is that. So that is whatever this number is, 182 Dwellings of Eldervale. All right, so my last one for today, number 181, is actually one that used to be my number one, which How the Mighty Have Fallen, and that is Bonfire from Stefan Feld. Now, the reason this has fallen is I don't get it played that much. It has a solo, but there are other games that I would play solo. I don't normally play games actually physically solo. I use like two players, and I do it two-handed solo. But this one just doesn't come off the shelf. Katie doesn't like it. It's hard to teach. I'm not great with teaching it. But if I found somebody who knew how to play it, I would gladly play it. So there is that. So if I played it more, I'd probably go back up higher. But this is a game where it's got a lot going on, and I'm probably not going to explain it well. You have this little tile thing over here that you're drafting tiles, and you're putting them on a player board to create it's going to provide the tokens that you're going to get for your actions. You connect them. If you connect two, like on the purple one here, you get 2 purple tokens and all that kind of thing. The more tokens you have, the more actions you can take. Then you're going to spend those actions to take those tokens to take all these actions. You're going to be moving your little elders around this board. You're going to be putting up portals here so you can get into the center and you can open the bonfire. You're going to be collecting these tokens that are out on the main board. And once you fulfill the contract, it's going to flip over and it's going to turn into this bonfire. You're trying to get your elder down into the bonfire so you can score some points. And you want the portal to match the colors. Whole lot of stuff going on. You also want to get your people in the middle of the board here at these seats because you're going to get extra points for that at the end of the game. There's some stuff moving around here that's going to give you some extra actions and all that stuff. Ton of stuff going on in this. Set collection. Normal Feld type things. I like it. It might almost have too much stuff going on. Maybe like 1 or 2 too many things. I don't normally say that because just learn the game and play it. Don't be a quitter. But when it comes to teaching, and I teach most of these games, that makes it a little bit tricky. So, fantastic game. I like Feld. I like the vibe of this. I like the theme. But just not one that I get to the table a lot. So it fell down quite a lot. So that's the last one for today. That is number 181, Bonfire. All right, well, there you go. That was the second segment of my 100 Beyond the 100 Games of All Time. Numbers 180, 89, 90 through 181. Yeah, I'm real bad at remembering these numbers. So yeah, stay tuned for some more videos. There'll be more. There's plenty more. We got blogs going. Well, I got a blog going. We're doing the podcast with the top 100. Just giving you a whole bunch of games to check out, a whole bunch of fun stuff to look up, maybe some games you never heard of, because it's all about finding games that you like and want to play and have fun. So there you go. So that is all for now. That's all I got. So thanks for watching, and as always, keep gaming.